President, please be seated. The court is in session, and I now hand over the floor to the International Co-Prosecutor to put more questions to this witness. You may proceed.
Sir, I heard your last response, but it didn't answer my question. So please try to listen to the questions. If you don't understand them, let me know. But just answer the questions so that we can proceed more quickly and finish your testimony. My question was about when you joined the Communist Party of Cambodia. Can you tell us about that?
Answer. I stated already that after the coup d'etat in 1970, I could not move anywhere, and I went to live in the hometown of my wife. After that, Democratic Cambodia asked me to be part of the front in Tramkok district. The front was different from the district committee. Members of the front's roles was to mobilize people to be part of the Democratic Cambodia.
What's your relationship with Tamok?
Answer. At that time, I had no contact with Tamok, but I was the brother-in-law of Tamok. I was the younger brother-in-law of Tamok.
Thank you. So you are married to Tamok's younger sister, correct? Now, when you joined the front, were you asked to join?
President, witness has not responded to your last question, Mr. International Co-Prosecutor. The question is, did you get married with Tamok's younger sister? Mr. Witness, please respond to that question. Answer. I got married with Tamok's younger sister in 1966, and at that time I did not know Tamok. I never saw him physically. And in my marriage ceremony, he was not in attendance.
Sir, I'm not asking you about your marriage in 1966. I'm asking you about the period after the Lon Nol coup, after 1970. Did you join the party? Being Tamok's brother-in-law, being in the zone, as you have explained, controlled by the Khmer Rouge, did you join the party?
Answer. I already stated clearly that Democratic Cambodia assigned me to be member of the front. I was not admitted into the party. I was part of the front in 1970 after the coup d'etat. And after that period, I was removed by Tasi to Peace Mountain. When I returned from Peace Mountain, I had a malaria for a month, and I received a written letter signed by C to assign me and designate other tasks, as I stated.
Sir, very quickly, Ta Si that you've mentioned, he was the deputy of Ta Mok, who later became the chairman of the West Zone. Isn't that correct? That Ta Si later became the chairman of the West Zone.
Answer: I did not know about this. I was at Takao province and I did not know about this.
Was Ta Si the deputy of Ta Mok at that time?
Answer: what did you mean by at that time? What was the period exactly in your question? After I received the written letter from Tasi, during the time that I received the letter from Tasi, I did not know his official position, but he was in the Southwest Zone.
Was Ta Si, to your knowledge, ever the deputy of Ta Mok? Yes or no, Mr. Witness?
Mr. President.
President, please hold on, Mr. Witness. You may proceed, counsel for Mr. Nguyen Chia.
Just to remind the bench, if I were to ask questions like this to a witness, I would have been objected to already 5 times. This is obviously a repetitive question. He doesn't like the answer, the international co-prosecutor. So I object on the same grounds as in respect of other objections. This is a repetitive question. So my argument actually would be to use the same rulings or to express the same rulings to the prosecution as to the defense.
Your Honor, if the witness has answered the question, I'd be curious which answer counsel believes he's given. Because he has not. He's evaded the question. He hasn't answered it.
President, the objection of the defense team is overruled. Mr. Witness, you are instructed to respond to the last question put by International Co-Prosecutor. And, Mr. Witness, please repeat your questions.
To your knowledge, was Ta Si ever the deputy of Ta Mok?
Answer: I did not know.
You mentioned another name, Sambit, when you were talking about receiving instructions to receive foreign guests. At the time that you received that instruction from Sambit, he was the deputy of the Southwest Zone, deputy to Ta Mok, correct?
Answer: I gave my answer already. I received instructions from Taron, and I just knew that Sambit was in the Southwest Zone. I did not know whether Sambit was the deputy or was the chair of the Southwest Zone. I only knew that he was in the Southwest Zone.
Well, Mr. Witness, there are many, many thousands or hundreds of thousands of people in the Southwest Zone. When you mentioned Run, you then mentioned Sambit. Is that because you knew that Run was the sector chairman and his boss, he would have reported to the Southwest Zone Committee? Is that what you knew? Is that correct?
Answer. The sector reported to zone from what I knew.
In all of the work that you did, the assignments that you were given during the Khmer Rouge period, did you believe, or did they tell you, that you did a good job, that you did what they wanted you to do?
Answer. I perform my assignment based on what they told me. I was told to work in the work site. I was asked to build dams and dig the canal, so I followed their assignments.
Did they ever complain about how you performed your duties? Did you get any complaint from Tam Mok or any Khmer Rouge DK official?
Answer. I was never complained by those people.
And is it true that in 1995, I believe you told the OCIJ, the Khmer Rouge called you back to Samut to perform some other duties? Is that correct?
President, please hold on, Mr. Witness. Counsel for Mr. Kirsampon, you may proceed. Counsel, thank you, Mr. President. I would like to request the Mr. Co-Prosecutor to present the document which he referred to.
Thank you. I'll do that and come back to that in just a moment. Sir, Tam Mok, you said in one of your previous answers you had never seen him. I don't think you meant that you've never in your life saw him. So can you explain, during the Khmer Rouge, the DK period, 1975 to 1979, were you in contact with and Tam Mok?
Answer. From 1975 to 1979, I met him, but what I said earlier was in the period, was during the marriage ceremony of mine, and I did not meet him at that time. And from 1975 to 1979, I met him in the Southwest Zone.
And Your Honors, if in the witness's statement E319.1.15, that would be his first statement, I believe, at answer 102, Mr. Witness, at answer 102 in your statement, your first statement to OCIJ the first day, you said, you were asked, you are now living in Samut. Do you hold any position in any party or in the civil service? You answered, no, the Khmer Rouge called me to Samut in 1995, and I was assigned to take charge of education. Is that correct?
Answer, yes, that is correct.
Who exactly called you to go take charge of education there?
Answer: I did not recall.
Who did you report to? Who was your boss there?
President, please hold on. Mr. Witness, you may proceed. Counsel Kongsamon. Counsel, thank you very much, Mr. President. I would like to object to this question because it is beyond the trial. Because the question relates to the period in 1996.
Your Honor, the relevance of the question is simply, I certainly don't want to cover the events of 1995. It relates to this witness having been a loyal member of the Khmer Rouge and the inference that he performed, when he performed his duties in Tram Kak, he did so in accordance with the policies of the party because they continued to employ him and give him assignments.
President, the objection of counsel for Mr. Kyu Sompon is sustained because the question is beyond the facts in our trial. I would like to remind the International Court Prosecutor to focus your question on the temporal jurisdiction of the tribunal, particularly concerned the Krang Kachan Security Office.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Witness, in that same interview, you were asked, that's 319.115, in your fourth answer, you said to the investigators, I would like you to consider that I was a teacher, one, and two, all of my relatives were 17 April people. Would Pol Pot dare assign me to do anything? And I'd like you to explain that. Why does the fact that you were a teacher mean that it would be unlikely for Pol Pot or the Khmer Rouge to assign you to anything?
Witness, could you clarify your question, please?
Well, Mr. Witness, if you look at your answer in 319.1.15, that's your interview, the first one, on the 28th of January, and the beginning of the interview in the fourth answer you gave, I'll read you the question and your answer. The question the investigators asked you was, you said that you were living in the Pol Pot zone after the 1970 coup. Did you join the Pol Pot movement before 1970? You answered, no, because I was unable to flee. I had to live in the Pol Pot zone. My mother, older brother, younger sister, and all my other younger siblings were living in Phnom Penh. I was living alone here. I would like you to consider that, one, I was a teacher, and two, all of my relatives were 17 April people. Would Pol Pot dare assign me to do anything? So I'd like you to explain, why was the fact that you were a teacher mean that the Khmer Rouge would not give you assignments?
Answer, let me clarify. I was a teacher at that time, and Democratic Cambodia categorized me as a petty bourgeoisie. My relatives, my younger sister, my blood brothers, and their spouses lived in Phnom Penh, and they were evacuated on 17 April 1975. And I was assigned only to work in the work site, to dig canal and to build dams. That were the assignment and that I received. So I was asked to help the tasks in Koh On Dat and also in Tram Kok district. So I was asked to help in the work site.
Mr. Witness, is what you're saying, I heard your answer, and I read what you told the investigators. Are you saying that the Khmer Rouge would not trust teachers and would distrust people because their relatives had come from Phnom Penh, even if they themselves were living in Khmer Rouge zones?
Answer: I refer only to my personal matters, and as I said, I was a teacher, and my siblings were evacuated from Phnom Penh.
So, Mr. Witness, was that a policy of the Khmer Rouge, or is this something that only applied to you, that they didn't trust teachers and they didn't trust people whose relatives had been living in Phnom Penh?
Answer: I did not know about such a policy, but what I stated, and I was only knew that I was to be taking care of myself.
Mr. Witness, you lived in the Khmer Rouge period in the Southwest Zone, is this correct? All the way from 1975 to 1979. Is that true?
Answer: I live in Southwest Zone from 1975 to 1979.
And, sir, are you aware of policies by the Khmer Rouge to discriminate against what they called April 17 people, even to discriminate against relatives of April 17 people?
Answer: I am not aware of it.
Mr. Witness, let's talk about your brother-in-law, Tamok. Can you tell us what kind of person he was in your view?
Answer: I knew and met him not quite often. To me, he was a loyal person. He did not only care of his families. I mean that he never, put his interests in front of others, and he never appointed his brother relatives to any position. And to me, he was kind to people.
Mr. Witness, you're saying he was loyal to those below him, and was he also loyal to those above him? Did he follow the party and DK policies, or was he an ambitious person out to gain power?
Answer: he was not ambitious.
Now, I believe I heard you just say he did not appoint relatives to positions. I'd like you to think about that and tell me, is that your position, that Tam Mok did not appoint his relatives to positions?
Answer: he did not, appoint his relatives to any high position. And as we may be aware, Tam Mok did not designate any task or did not appoint any position by himself because there were superiors above him.
To your knowledge, Tam Mok always followed the orders of his superiors. Is that what you're saying?
Answer: I did not know concerning the question you asked.
Mr. Witness, I would like to read to you a bit from a book that a scholar of the Khmer Rouge period has written, Ben Kiernan, and that's E3 1593. At Khmer, the ERNs are 00637488290. At English, 00678538539. And at French, 00638821224. Now, this scholar wrote, Mok carefully placed a network of family members in various important positions in his zone. These included 2 brothers-in-law, 4 sons, 2 daughters, and 5 sons-in-law. They were all promoted through the ranks, most after serving time in Tam Mok's home district, Tram Kak, known as District 105 of Region 13. Mr. Witness, where was Tam Mok's home village?
His home village was in Tropang Thom Commune, Tram Kak district.
And the author goes on to say that Mok's son-in-law, Ki Mut, became the Deputy Secretary of Region 13, and in 1973 rose to become Secretary of the 3rd Southwest Division. He says that Mok's daughter, Kom, replaced Mut as CPK Secretary of Tram Kak. Another daughter, Ho, became Director of the Region 13 Hospital. And he goes on to say, 2 sons, Cham and Chai, also served on the Tram Kak CPK District Committee, and a brother-in-law, San, a former school teacher, was a leading CPK official. A second brother-in-law, Tit, was CPK Secretary of Kiribong, District 109. Is all this true?
Answer: as for what you read, some is true and some is not true. Tam Mok did not have any sons. He had only daughters. And what was the members of Sector 13 in the 60s? And he becomes the soldier in the zone in 1973, perhaps in 1973. That's what I knew.
Thank you. So, do you agree then that a brother-in-law, San, a former school teacher, was a leading CPK official?
Actually, he did not have any son to be a head of school.
Maybe that must be my pronunciation. I'm saying San, as in your name, your alias. It says a brother-in-law, San, a former school teacher, was a leading CPK official. Is that true? Were you a leading CPK official?
No, he was not I was not an important cadre. I was an assistant to the district in the field of building dams, digging canals, and working in the rice fields. And that was from 1975 to late 1978.
Sir, how did the Khmer Rouge, during the DK period, treat moral offenses, mistreatment, sexual mistreatment of women?
I did not know.
Were you accused of moral offenses?
When Tamok was in Takeo, he called me from Kohandait to Tramkot district. And he told me that I had been reported that I was playful or mischievous with my hands. And for that reason, he transferred me to land assistance through those in Tramkot. And in the field of building dams, digging canals, or working in rice fields in order to refashion myself.
So, let me understand. You were accused of sexual misconduct with women. You never were interrogated about that. You never were detained. Is that correct?
Tamok said that I was accused of being mischievous with my hands. He didn't tell me exactly what the allegation was, and for that reason he transferred me from Kohandait to Tramkot.
Did you understand that statement, that you were accused of having mischievous hands, to mean you had had affairs with women?
I never involved in any sexual intercourse or relationship with any woman, but I was alleged of doing that. And for that reason, Tamok said that I was accused of being mischievous with my hand.
So, Mr. Witness, you received no punishment, is that correct?
For me, I thought that the fact that I was transferred from Kohandait to work in Tramkot, to assist those people in Tramkot, It means that I was just removed from my working position in Kohan Diet and transferred to another working position in Tramco. It was in the same case as I was removed by Tasi from being a member of the front to be in charge of the education, that is to teach alphabets to the children in the 3 provinces.
Well, let me follow up on that a bit. What were you accused of, or what did you do wrong to cause this transfer by Tasi? You said it was the same as when you were transferred by Tasi. Were you also accused of moral offenses?
No, there was no such allegation. In my thought, I did not commit any wrongdoing, and I was simply transferred.
Well, let's go back for a moment, since you brought it up, to the transfer by Tasi, or the letter that Tasi gave you, appointing you the head of education for 3 provinces. That made you the head of education for the entire Southwest Zone, correct?
I did not know, but I was given responsibility for the education from the 3 provinces. But in fact, I did not engage in that work because upon returning from Peace Mountain to my village, I became ill.
Well, sir, there's quite a long time between 1970 and 1975. It's 5 years. What were you doing during those 5 years? You said you were ill. When you weren't ill, what were you doing?
You asked me some repetitive questions because I already responded to that. As I said, in 1971, Tasam sent me to Kohan Diet district, and in fact, I was ill for 6 months. And after I recovered, that's when Tasam transferred me to Kohan Diet.
Sir, the organization of DK was at each level, commune, sector, zone. There was a committee of 3 persons. That was the normal organizational structure, correct?
In some areas, there were 2 members, and in others, there were 3. So it varied.
Who was in the committee at Kohan Diet? When you were there, who was on the committee?
Ta Sieng was the secretary, and then there was Ta Chan. There were only 2.
Who is Tachan?
Ta Chan passed away. What's the need of asking about Ta Chan?
You're saying he passed away. My question was simply, who was he? Do you know anything else about him you can tell us?
Chan was Ta Sieng's deputy.
Now, in the work that you did, you said you had some work growing rice. Were you planting the rice? What actually did you do?
In 1975, that is after the war ended, Tamok had a plan to build a dam at the Angkor Lake, and I participated in the raising of that dam. And all forces were sent from the surrounding communes to build that dam. And after that, I engaged in dry season farming at that dam and surrounding the area of that lake. And subsequently, I was asked to clear a plot of land near Kohandat and to raise rice for dry season rice farming and to build another dam at Bangkok and a water pump station in that area as well. So that's basically the works that I engaged in during that period.
Sir, what was your role in that work? Were you doing the physical labor? Were you the supervisor, supervising the laborers? Were you in charge of security? What was your role?
I was not in charge of security. I was an assistant to the district, and I was tasked to see how the work was progressed in terms of building the dike or the dam or dig a canal. My work was purely technical, for instance, in relation to the building of the water pump station.
Well, explain that. Were you in charge of the workers? Did you give them instructions?
Mobile units were under the supervision of their respective unit chiefs. And we did not give them any instruction, but whenever there was a work plan, we consulted amongst one another.
And when you say we, who do you mean? You and the other members of the district committee?
I use the word we. I mean I myself and the mobile unit chiefs or the youth mobile unit chiefs. We held meetings to discuss about the work plan and what we had to do. And this does not mean I gave them instructions, but we consulted respectively in terms of the work plan.
So who was in charge? No one? I gather you did not get the question. I'll repeat it. You said that you would consult with the leaders of the mobile units. My question is, who then was in charge? Are you saying no one was in charge? Who was in charge?
The mobile units were selected from the commune level. In that regard, for logistics, including food and clothing, they were supplied by the respective communes. And my role at the work site was to take consultation with the mobile unit chiefs at the actual work sites on the progress of the work and on the work plan.
So, can you explain the chain of command for the mobile units? You said that there were people in charge of the mobile units. Who did they report to?
At that time, in regard to the reporting regime, it was very difficult to say. Sometimes when I were called, or when we were called by the district committee, that is the Sieng and the Chan, then the mobile unit chiefs and myself would go to meet them.
So you would go and meet with the members of the district committee about these work assignments. Is that right?
The mobile unit chiefs and I. And when I refer to the mobile unit chiefs, I refer to the mobile unit chief, the youth mobile unit chief, and the female mobile unit chief. Each of us would go and meet with the district committee.
Now, you talked about being assigned by Tam Mok after the accusation of mischievous hands to Lay Bo. First of all, can you tell us, what is Lay Bo? Is it a village? Is it a commune? Or is it both of those?
Lay Bo is a commune, and there is also a village called Lay Bo within the Lay Bo commune.
Where did you live? Did you live in the village, Lay Bo?
I had a small house just opposite the Lay Bo cooperative, and that location was 6 kilometers from the Takeo provincial town.
Okay, you mentioned that your house was opposite the cooperative. Does that mean it was inside the village called Lay Bo or outside the village?
It was inside Lay Bo village.
Was the cooperative also called Lay Bo, or did it have another name?
The location was known as Lay Bo cooperative.
When you use the word cooperative, about how many people were in the cooperative at the time you arrived in Lay Bo? Can you give us an estimate? Are we talking about hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands?
recall the exact total number.
Was the cooperative organized to do any particular work? If so, can you explain what kind of work?
The cooperative engaged mainly in rice farming. And as I said, that's the main duty of the cooperative to engage in rice farming, and besides that, to engage in plantation or in building dams.
Who was in command of the cooperative?
I cannot recall the name, but as for Libo commune, it was Takau. Takau.
Okay. That leads to my next question. How did the cooperative chain of command work? The head of the cooperative or the committee that headed the cooperative, did they report to the commune level, to the district level? How did that work?
A cooperative will report to the commune, and subsequently that commune will report to the district.
What was the distance from your house to the district office for District 105 for Tram Kak?
Libo Cooperative was located to the west of National Road, and my house itself was located to the south, that is the south of the cooperative, and also along the National Road number 5. It was just on the other side of the National Road, and from my house to the cooperative, it was about 50 meters. And the distance from my house to Tram Kak office, which was located in Ong Roka, was about 15 kilometers, because from my house to Ong Tasam it was about 6 kilometers, and from Ong Tasam to the district office it was about 9 kilometers.
Was the district office in a former pagoda at Ong Roka?
The district office was located at the currently Ong Roka market. It was located to the west of Ong Roka Pagoda.
Was the pagoda still being used as a pagoda?
It is still a pagoda.
Thank you. During the Khmer Rouge time, are you saying it was used as a pagoda then? Sir, when you were in Tram Kak, when you were transferred to Lebo, was the Ang Roka pagoda being used for Buddhist worship?
No, it was not.
Is it true that there was no pagodas in Tram Kak district, that they all were used for other purposes, shut down during the Khmer Rouge time?
There were no pagodas and there were no monks, but I did not know for sure as for what purpose other pagodas had been used during the Khmer Rouge.
What about that one? It was used as a prison, isn't that correct? Angroka?
I did not know.
Sir, what was the distance from Lebo to Krang Tachan?
Even today, I don't even know which commune Krang is located in.
Sir, your brother disappeared during the Khmer Rouge regime, correct?
My elder brother, Noon, who left Phnom Penh to go to Kothom district, and I met him once. Later on, he disappeared and have not seen him since, and I only met his wife.
Did his wife tell you what happened to him? What happened to him, your brother?
I did not know, because we lived far away from one another, as she lived in Kothom district and I lived in Takai province.
Had your brother served in the Lon Nol army?
I lived at a far distance from my elder brother. My elder brother lived in Kothom district while I lived in Takai province.
My question, sir, was, did he serve in the Lon Nol army? Do you know? Yes or no?
I did not know, because he was in Phnom Penh while I was living at the zone under the Democratic Cambodia regime control. President, the time is appropriate for a lunch break. Or do you have one last question, Mr. International Co-Prosecutor?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just one question. You told us about the death of your brother. Can you tell us, do you know other people that disappeared during the Khmer Rouge period in Tram Kak district when you lived there in Lebo?
I did not know. President, the time is convenient for a lunch break. We will take a break now and we will resume at 1:30 in the afternoon. And court officer, please assist the witness during this lunch break and invite him back into the courtroom, including his duty counsel, at 1:30 this afternoon. And security guard instructed to take a accused opponent into the waiting room and have him return to the courtroom before 1:30. The court is now in recess.
សូមអញ្ជើញក្រោកឈរ